guys, my name is Nonima Tikela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So I want us to break down what happened in court today, Friday, the 22nd of May, 2026. And I want to share with you everything that was happening bit by bit. I'm going to do videos according to my reactions of the events of today because wow, Sana, it was a lot. First of all, you remember that yesterday when we adjourned, it was because the accused were not happy with Jonas's temperament. They were not happy with Jonas being emotional, rude at times, etc. There was a lot that was happening. Now the judge did not understand, and he said he's going to go and consult the Chief Justice. Now this is what he came back doing today, this morning. Firstly, he comes in to say, yes, that this one is going to be a short hearing, and also he is already visibly not happy with the so-called hearing. And now this is what he says, because, hey, let us unpack Kesana properly, because this moment is actually much deeper than the judge is just angry. It's way deeper. Well, firstly, why is Judge Rota sounding angry and defensive? Let me break it down. What I'm seeing there is not just an emotion, it's an institutional protection mode. From the judge's perspective, an interpreter is not just a helper, he is part of the courtroom machinery itself. So when multiple accused complain about him, it sounds like an attack on the court's integrity. You see, he made this thing to be about him. He made this thing to be about him, Judge Rata, instead of dealing with the problem. He is not dealing with the problem, he took it to heart and chested it and made it about him. Now, that is why he's escalating. He escalated and said, officer of the court, judicial officer, unprecedented. I'm like, bo. Now, he's basically saying, you are not just criticizing a person, you are challenging the functioning of my court. That is Judge Rata saying that to the accused in his opening lines. That's why his tone shifted. It became defensive and even confrontational towards the accused, including the lawyers, because he was just mixing all of them together, even though the lawyers were clearly saying, it's not us, it's instructions. Secondly, why he keeps talking about contempt, because nobody spoke about contempt. Nobody mentioned that word. This is where he misframes the issue. And I've picked up Uguti. Nobody said Jonas lied. Jonas distorted evidence. Jonas committed misconduct, rising to contempt. No one said any of those things. But the judge reduces everything to, if he's not in contempt, I cannot remove him. Johnny, that is a legal shortcut. And honestly, it's too narrow for a judge, because the real legal question is not, is Jonas in contempt? The real question is the interpretation adequate for a fair trial? That is where we are, period. Now, those are two completely different standards. And I don't know why he's mixing them together. Why is he doing that, Urata? Thirdly, now the missing legal principle. This is the real battleground. The core issue sits under Section 35 of the Constitution, fair trial rights, the right to understand proceedings in a language you fully grasp. This is not about competency alone or mistranslation alone. It includes tone, completeness, neutrality, consistency, and whether the accused can follow the trial in real time. That is what we are about. And here is the key point. Even if an interpreter is technically accurate, he can still undermine a fair trial if he is impatient. He skips portions like legal arguments, which is exactly what is happening here. He creates tensions with witnesses, exactly what he does. Or he fails to fully interpret proceedings. That is exactly what is happening in this instance of Jonas. So now the accused consent is legally valid, but the judge is choosing a different threshold for reasons known to him alone. Number 4, why he asked Jonas to give his history. That part felt random, Kesan. But it actually wasn't, okay? it's a reputation shield strategy. He's shielding his reputation ka Jonas at the expense of the accused, in my view. He's trying to publicly establish Jonas as experienced and as experienced and credible. No one said otherwise anyway. He is trying to neutralize the perception that this interpreter is problematic, of which he is in this instance of this case. So instead of investigating the complaints, he does this. Let me show the public he's qualified. What the hell must we do with that information? Where is that going to take us? But here's the problem. Experience is not always equal to suitability in this specific trial. A veteran interpreter can still struggle with dialect usage isiZulu versus isiXhosa. High pressure testimony, emotional control. Exactly the problems of Mr. Jonas. So now my instincts are right when it comes to his history doesn't answer the actual complaint. That's not where we are. Now, number 5. This is where I think it needs to be like really studied the situation ka Judge Ratha. The complaints are not about murder level misconduct because he made it sound like Jonas was accused of murder or something. The defense raised a pattern based on consent. There are recorded incidents of tension and pushback from Jonas. Language nuisance, isiZulu versus isiXhosa, can matter in court. Failure to interpret legal arguments is serious. But here is where, now, I want to be precise. It's not about Jonas's rights versus accused rights. Courts don't rank rights like that, right? Instead, the legal test is, does the current setup create real risk of unfairness? That's it. That's what the defense should be pushing, not emotions, but demonstrable prejudice. And that's what they did. Now, the real strategic mistake, which is very important, the defense framed it as he is emotional, he is impatient, he is rude, perhaps. That sounds like personality complaint. So the judge responds that's not enough to remove him. But if they had framed it like this, the accused are not receiving full interpretation of proceedings. Legal arguments are not being translated fully. There are linguistic comprehension gaps affecting testimony. This prejudices their ability to instruct counsel. Then the judge will be forced into a fair trial analysis, not a disciplinary one. That's the shift that matters. And no one said Jonas must go to disciplinary because Judge Ratha sounds as if he thinks people want Jonas to lose his job. No, that's not the case. So what is really happening here, it's just a clash. Judge's frame protects the integrity of the court system, avoid setting a precedent where court officials are easily challenged. Defense concern, ensure the accused fully understand proceedings, prevent subtle unfairness in interpretation. And right now, the judge is winning the framing battle. The defense is losing it by arguing emotionally instead of constitutionally. Anyway, it is what it is. Judge Ratha needs to, if he was a good leader, he was supposed to show them a way of handling the situation. Now, I am one of those people that, I'm not one of those people that questioned the moment. But the argument is this. This is not about whether Jonas is incompetent or in contempt. It's about whether the accused are receiving full, neutral, and complete interpretation, including legal arguments, in a language they fully understand. If not, that engages fair trial rights under Section 35. That argument is much harder for the court to dismiss. Hence, he even framed the things the way he did. I'm coming back with another video where you will see how he moved the entire motion. Anyway, what are your thoughts when it comes to this? I'll see you on our next video. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.